Hi, this is Dr. Sweeney. Welcome to Math 219. I wanted to say I'm really excited for us to get started with the course. This is going to be an Intersession course, so it's going to be short, it's going to be fast, which is great because then you'll be done with it pretty soon if that's your concern. But on the other hand, that means that you've got to keep up with it all the time. Pretty much, I'd schedule yourself out for, I don't know, between 20 and 30 hours a week to actually do the work of the course, to study for the course, because that's basically the amount of time that it'll take to read the material, go through watch videos based upon the material, do the assignments, right, and then study for the exams. Every week you're going to have an exam, so don't get behind, all right? That's the big thing about this. You just don't want to get behind, and I don't want you to get behind, so consequently, get started as soon as possible. And since you're watching this right now, hopefully it's day one or maybe even before the course has started, you're in a good place, okay? All right, cool. So let's actually go over and take a look at some of the different parts of the course so that we can get you kind of acquainted and accustomed to doing what we need to do, okay? All right, so you're in day one now, and since you're in day one, here's what you should be doing on day one. The first thing that you should do is go into the recent announcements and read through each one of the announcements. Start out here with, and probably this is where you started, the Getting Ready for Math 219, because that's where this video is actually located. But make sure that you go through and read through each one of those announcements. The announcements are places where I'm going to give you any kind of important information that you need to know for the course and to update you on things that are coming up. All right, so you'll see things like updates, announcements for exams. You'll find answers for your discussion board posts. You'll find any kind of additional information that I need is going to go up into the announcements. That way they're there for you to come back to on a regular basis and for you to take a look at. The other thing about it is that you need to be reading the announcements on a daily basis because of the speed of this course. So pretty much 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, you should be reading the announcements because, all right, so now next up is the syllabus. Take a look. Here is the syllabus. You can click on it. All right. On the one hand, you'll see me, the instructor. On the other hand, what you'll see right here, and I just need to get it added in there, will be the actual syllabus date, the syllabus for this particular course. And so you can go through and read that. It's got all of the information that you need to read. It's a contract between you and I. So you want to make sure that you read that because it tells you what you can expect from me, and it lets me know, and it also tells you what I am going to be expecting from you. You can see much of that syllabus is actually located here instead of this syllabus page, but not completely. All right? So make sure that you go in, you click on the syllabus, you read through the syllabus to get a real good sense of the course. Now, if I go in here, I'm going to click on modules, and in the modules are where we're going to find most of everything that we really want. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go to my course information section, and I want to show you this section right here. Now, you should go through and read everything here on day one. You'll see that we have the module 0 graded discussion board. You're going to see netiquette rules, general course questions, things like that. But then I've also, for the purposes of this course, and I think I'm going to do it for the rest of my courses, I've got this thing called frequently asked questions. And if you click on frequently asked questions, what you'll see is these are a set of questions that students ask me a lot. All right? And so that you don't have to wait for a response via email for these things, what I did here is I put them into the FAQ. You can kind of just scroll down. It's not that long. It's not like one of those giant ones you get at a company, but it does have like section headers, like about math questions and course information, like our drop deadlines, exam protocols, including things about Proctorio, okay? And it should help to direct you to places where you can find information about these particular questions, okay? And I think what I've done here is I've really done this to help you out, okay, so that you can get answers to the questions that you need to have answers to quickly, all right, rather than having to go through and look through the entire course, right? There are links inside of the FAQs, and as I get different questions, I'm actually going to be adding more to the frequently asked questions. What if a question is asked, or you have a question that actually isn't in the frequently asked questions? Well, that's where communication comes in. So we're going to go in here, and I'm going to click on discussions. All right? If we go in, we've got a set of discussion boards, and right here is the general course questions. Now, if it's already located in the frequently asked questions, we're going to just push you towards the frequently asked questions. Hey, he's got a thing here in the FAQ, right, about Proctorio, for example, or here's how you locate StatCrunch, or here is how you're going to locate OneNote. So you can use that So you can put that there, and we might just direct you to the FAQs just in case you haven't read them. On the other hand, if it isn't answered in the FAQ, then what you can do is you can ask that question in the general course questions, and those get responded to on a daily basis. Okay? So you can ask them in the general course questions. We have a study group discussion board. I do recommend actually that you utilize study groups if you know people inside of the course, or even if you don't, maybe you can meet somebody through the study group discussion board. I can't do anything about that, but like what you can do is you can set up conversations inside of the study group discussion board so that you can find times to study together for the exams. Okay? Here, these are the Unit 1, the Unit Help Discussion Boards. And what the Unit Help Discussion Boards are is they are places where you can go to ask math questions. All right? And I'm going to click on one of them to show you what this looks like. You'll see, here's the Homework Helps Discussion Board. Now, there are some things that I've asked you to do on that Help Discussion Board. I've asked you, 1, to tell me the number in the section of your problem, to copy and paste the problem, right? Utilize the snipping tool if you're using a PC, or utilize, if you're using a Mac, you can use, they've got a snipping tool as well, to copy and paste the problem. The problems that are generated inside of the practice problems are oftentimes generated, differently for every student, so we want to see what it is that you're doing, okay? Then the third part is to actually tell me what you've already done, or where you might be having some problems or issues. I'm not going to go in and, well, it's best for me to not go in and just begin at the beginning, because it may be the case that I might miss where you're having problems or where you're struggling. So, what I ask you to do is to give me just a little bit of feedback as to where you're having some problems. If you just give me a string of problems, like I can't do number 2, number 4, number 7, number 5, I'm going to direct you to the Math Center. Because the fact of the matter is that I really can only address one problem at a time, right? They may all have the same particular kinds of problems. So if you give me one that kind of looks like the problems that you're having a problem with, or you give me kind of like a general sense of what those problems are, I can help you much more specifically, and you can actually do better on the entire assignment, okay? One thing to get about this is that if you post to the discussion board the night in which the assignment is due, I'm not going to actually respond until the next day at the earliest. So you're going to have to use what we call our late passes, and I'll show you those in just a minute. Or again, you can go in and you can go in and go into the Math Center and get some help from the Math Center as well. One last thing is you can go in here, and if you look, you'll see that we have the graded discussion boards. There are several of them. There's about 8 of them for the entire semester. You're required to respond to these discussion boards and respond to other students on those discussion boards. Please make sure that you read the information on the discussion boards carefully so that you get full credit for what you're doing. All the questions that are on the discussion board really are designed to help you think about the mathematics and kind of put things together, right? To kind of like gel everything together. Oftentimes they'll point to specific vocabulary, or they'll point to specific concepts that I think are really important for you to understand in order to do well in that section. And so what you really want to do is that if you're having problems with that section, read what other people have written, right? And then afterwards, read what it is that I've stated when I go through and I actually answer the discussion board. Okay? So now where I'm located is inside of the frequently asked questions. And what I want to do is I actually want to go down here and I want to start talking about assignments, our discussion boards, and our recent assignments. All right? So things happen. Okay? Things occur. And because things occur, what we have to do is, I find that it's good to give a little bit of leeway for students, especially inside of like an intersession class, that sort of thing. Now, there is actually a less leeway given in an intersession class than in a longer class because of the short amount of time that we have. So my deadlines, they're set up, and they're set up pretty quickly. But you never know. Sometimes you've got to work on Wednesday, Thursday, and the assignment's due on Thursday night, right? Okay. So what I've done is I've actually set it up so that there are ways to turn in your assignments late without any kind of penalty, okay? And that's basically just to make sure that you do the assignment so that you get the learning from it that you need to get from it, and so that you're not really penalized by it. So the first thing that we want to do is to talk about late passes. Now, inside of the course, there are these things called practice assignments. So practice assignments are the ones that are generated inside of Luminome, inside of our learning system. And for each one of those, you can utilize a late pass, and a late pass will give you up to 72 hours in order to complete the assignment. So when you want to actually begin the assignment, you can go in, put in a late pass, okay? And that late pass will then allow you to open it up for an additional 72 hours. I recommend using the late pass when you're actually ready to do the assignment. Okay, when you've actually gone in, you've done some of the reading, you maybe watched the videos, and you're ready to actually go in and answer the questions on the assignment. All right. There's no penalty for utilizing a late pass. Late passes are completely free. You get 40 of them for the entire semester, and I think that's actually more than there are assignments. So, I wouldn't use them all inside of the first week, right? But if you have to use them, there are plenty of them, and you can absolutely use them. Those are only for the practice assignments, though. Okay? Can you use late passes on discussion boards or written assignments? The answer is no, you cannot. On the other hand, there is some leeway given to the due dates on the discussion boards and the written assignments. For the discussion boards, we have a date in which you have to have your first response, okay, and then when you have to respond to other students, all right? So you go in, you give your first response, your initial response, and then there's 3 days after that to respond to other students once they've actually posted, all right? You need to make sure that you do your initial response and your response to the other students within that time frame, that window. So the initial response is going to be the due date, okay, and then you'll have 3 days after that in which to respond. If you have not responded within that 3-day time period, then you cannot get credit for the discussion board, right? That's the drop deadline on discussion boards. Once that's done, it's over. You cannot actually respond any longer. For written assignments, the drop deadline, the deadline for turning in written assignments is at midnight on the day of the exam for which they are due, okay? So basically, you just need to turn those assignments in along with the exam on the same date in which the exam is due, all right? So there are some guidelines, right? Due dates by which I think you should be doing those things. And then there is the date in which the assignment will close and you will no longer be actually allowed to upload any further assignments. And that's for the written assignments, okay? The last day that you can turn in any work for the class, okay, which includes utilizing late passes, which can be used throughout the entirety of the semester, and your written assignments or discussion boards for our 4th week of class, the last day in which to turn any of that in is on the day of the last exam. At the end of that last exam, the class is officially over. The entire course closes. Okay, you can look at your grades, but nothing else is going to be allowed to be uploaded or inputted, and nothing else will be graded. Okay, so that kind of covers it in terms of late assignments. There's a grace period on each one of the assignments. Just make sure that you get it within that grace period. All right. For the discussion boards, it's 3 days after the first discussion board is due, or after the initial discussion board is due. For written assignments, it's by the date in which the exam is due, and for the practice assignments, you can do them all the way up until the last day of class, although I would highly recommend you do them before the actual exam date. Okay? All of this is just to help you learn math, right? I just want you do these assignments to help you learn the mathematics so that you can do well in the class. So what about exams and exam protocols? Okay, so we are in a remote online instruction situation right now, okay? There really isn't a way to get into the campus in order to do test proctoring. So the way that I've set things up is I've set things up for a remote instruction scenario to give you the best opportunity to do well inside of the class and to give us as best test security as we possibly can. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 exams that will be via Proctorio. That's going to be the first exam, and that's going to be the 4th exam. Proctorio is an online proctoring system, right, that basically ensures that you are the only one doing the exam, that you are following the rules that I've asked you to follow. All right? Those exams will not be open book. They will not be open note. So you'll have to do it as you're studying for them beforehand. But what they will be is they will be completely doable without any kind of calculator or a very small amount of calculator usage. And you can do them entirely inside of the system. All right? So what I've done for the first exam is I've set up actually a practice exam. A practice exam for you to go and set up your computer to use Proctorio. You'll need a webcam. You'll need a microphone of some sort. And you'll need probably an area in which you'll be somewhat not disturbed. I'm not too picky about that, but we just want to make sure that we don't have people coming in and going in and out as you take your exams. If you do not have a webcam, all right, or you do not have a microphone, okay, for your computer, then you can make arrangements through the Academic Computing Center in order to get a location to do your exam. They are not going to proctor it for you. They will basically set up a webcam, set up the exam, and you'll be allowed to go in and take that exam inside of the Academic Computing Center, right, utilizing their cameras. In addition, distance education also has some loaners for webcams and microphones as well. What I would just recommend for you is that for the purposes of your exam, if you can borrow a family member, do it safely please, or a friend safely again, their computer that has a webcam, utilize that in order to take your exam. That's probably going to be the easiest thing for you to do. And then just tell people, hey, for this next hour and a half, you got to be quiet, whatever it is, okay? And that's for the first and the fourth. The second and the third will be written, so they'll be take home. There are no time on them, no time limit. They'll be open note, open book, okay? And you will be given basically a 48-hour time period in which to go and do those exams. And so that's exam 2 and exam 3. So in week 1, you'll have a Proctorio exam. You'll have the practice exam earlier in the week for you to kind of get acquainted, accustomed to set up your computer to use Proctorio. Then you'll go in and actually take the exam over the weekend, okay, sometime during the weekend. The second and third, you'll have weekends in which to go in and take the exams. In fact, to write up your exams and then submit them. And then the fourth one will be on the last day of class, the very last day of class, that Friday. You will need to go in and spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours taking the exam to finish out the course, okay? You can find all of the dates for that here on the calendar section. All right, so for January. And so you'll see that the first exam is going to be due here on the 10th. The second exam will be due on the 18th, so that is you'll get actually an extra day even there. The third exam will be due on the 24th, and the fourth exam will be then due on the 29th. All right? Question, do I allow lit exams? No, I do not. So you need to make arrangements during those times. The 1st, the 9th and the 10th is a 48-hour window. The 16th and 16th through the 18th is more like a 72-hour window. There's a 48-hour window from the 23rd to the 24th, and then there is a 24-hour window for the 29th. Make sure that you get the time off that you need or the space that you need in order to at least take the exams and write them up. Okay? So if you need to study beforehand, you need to situate it so that you can study beforehand. They're very flexible in terms of the times. Okay? So those times are time flexible, but you've got to do it within that time window. And that's when you just have to do it. There will not be makeup exams allowed. There will not be late exams allowed. So make sure that you go in and you arrange times now to take those exams. So the last piece that I want to go through here is my grading scale so that you can understand what makes something an A, a B, a C, a D, or hopefully not an F. An A is 90% and above of all the total points inside of the course. A B is 80% and above. A C is 70% above. And anything below that is actually not passing. Would be either a D or an F. Okay? You can see right here, this is how I've broken up the grading. So discussions and participation 10%, practice assignments 10%, written assignments 10%, and then the midterm exams would be 70%. All right? So that's for all 4 of the midterm exams. There are 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all together will be 70% of your entire course grade. Okay? And they're basically equally weighted. Each one of those exams will be equally weighted. So that is my grading scale. A couple things here. We'll go back to that frequently asked questions so you can actually find this again. And I will remind you of these during the course. If for some reason you're not doing so great in the course, here are your drop deadlines. You can drop without a W by January 5th. So basically that's the second day of class. That's the second day of class. It's a Tuesday. So if you've gone in, you've taken a look at the course, you're like, man, I can't do this in 4 weeks, drop so you can drop without a W. Now, drop with a W is January 22nd, 2021. And so again, same deal. If you've gone in, you're like, okay, I tried on this one, but it's just too fast for me. I'm going to have to, maybe do some work in between, right? Drop before January 22nd, 2021, and I will give you some reminders. All right? That is it. So, welcome to Math 219. I believe that you're going to do an absolutely fantastic job. I am looking forward to having all of you inside of the class, getting to know you a little bit better, and, just helping you learn some statistics. It's a fascinating subject. It's one of my favorite things to teach, and I am really excited to get to know you. All right, we'll see you soon.